Hey, Ma. Good. How are you? Good. Look, Ma, I'm just going to come out with it. I've been having a tough time lately. I was looking to see if maybe you can lend me some money. No, no, it's Khalil Roundtree, Ma. Khalil Roundtree. But don't worry. Thomas Peterson's going to solve all my problems this Saturday. All right? All right, thanks. Love you. Bye bye. All right. Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Khalil Roundtree to beat Yuri Prohashka. He gave it one hell of an effort, but Yuri with that round three effort, it was just too fucking much. I am here to break down UFC Fight Night 260 fuck Oliveira versus Gamrot. I love how Gamrot stepped up here. Let's get into it. Okay, opening up the card, we have Luan Lacerda taking on Simon Oliveira. My prediction here is Luan Lacerda wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. And I'm not too confident in that prediction, and I'm even less confident in the method of victory. These are two submission artists, really dangerous guys, and they're dynamic guys. And I think this, if they plug into each other's strengths, this could be a very interesting fight. Luan Lacerda's been finished a few times, once by TKO, once by submission. The TKO comes in his last fight to Damon Blackshear, and that might have been Blackshear's first TKO, but either way, it was a tactical error for Luan Lacerda, who was overcommitting, giving up his body, going for legs, and Damon Blackshear is a very dangerous grappler and made him pay. And he was also submitted in the third fight of his career against a really good fighter and to a knee bar. So it's very forgivable, and it's not the end of the world. But in general, he's a very dangerous submission artist. No one's gotten him since. And the same could be said for Simon Oliveira. He's got a record of 18-6. He's got 11 submission victories and 0 submission losses. He has been stopped twice, though, by knockout, and they are in his last 2 fights, which isn't the greatest look. Looks like it could be a pattern developing. And I'm sure he's not getting more durable with age. But he is a guy who's been out of commission for a while. He came back earlier this year against David Martinez, who's fucking awesome, and got stopped. But in general now, there's a lot of doubt with Simon Oliveira. The layoff, the 3-fight losing streak, being finished twice in a row. He definitely hasn't gotten to look great in a while. Here, there's a chance it's an interesting matchup, and he's able to capitalize on that, kind of like Jakub Wicklacz versus Patchy Mix. I knew there was a chance that could be a bad matchup. Listen to me. I knew. I didn't know shit. I picked Patchy to win. I'm a jerk off. But I do think here this is a fight between two grapplers, and I don't know who the more dangerous guy is or the tougher guy to get out of there, submission wise is. And on the feet, I do favor Luan Lacerda. I mean, he doesn't have one stoppage victory, even by accidental TKO or some circumstantial shit, but he still can handle himself on the feet. Simon Oliveira can too, but again, the way he's looked as of late, I know he's been fighting good fighters. He also got knocked out against Daniel Marcos in his fight before that. So, he's definitely, there's just too much doubt for me to go with him. My pick is Luan Lacerda. And as for a bet, no, he's minus 258. I feel like this is an interesting matchup to the point at which I can't commit to a bet on my prediction here, on my pick. But once the props drop, maybe I'll go looking for submission props, even on the other side of things with Simon Oliveira. But in general, I'm staying away from this, and I'm going with Luan Lacerda. Next up, we have Julia Polastri versus Karolina K. My prediction here is Polastri wins, and I'm going to go with her winning by decision. Having said that, I'm waiting to see all the odds, all the props, and everything, so I can see where I can put my bet on the Karolina K side of things. She is plus 350, which is a nice, enticing money line, but I do expect this to go the distance either way, and I would look to cover maybe the point spread. Where I would bet that with a little more confidence, or maybe just put something small and meaningless on Karolina by decision. But in general, assuming everything reflects the money line here, where she's sitting at plus 350, the value will be on Karolina Kovalkiewicz. But the pick is Julia Polastri, wins by decision. And you know what? I haven't seen the odds. Maybe that'll be worth it. What do I know? But Polastri's definitely the pick here. I think she can handle herself on the feet. I think she's got good takedowns. She's comfortable on the back foot. She's quicker than Karolina, I expect. And she's the more likely takedown artist. And also, not that I think it's going to come to a finish, but she's better on the ground, I think. I mean, what do I really know? But I picked Julia Polastri here, despite her being 1-2 in the UFC. It's not the prettiest record, but she did lose to Lapita Godinez, who's a girl who could trump that wrestling prowess, and she lost to Josephine Knudsen, who is somewhere out in the nether realm. I don't know what she's doing, but she was a very good fighter. I talk about her like she died. And Polastri's only win is a split decision over Corey McKenna sandwiched in between there. She's definitely not the most imposing fighter. And my pick here, again, it's decision, but it's not anything lopsided. I just think she'll be more likely to score controlling points and she'll be quicker on the feet. I think she'll be a half step ahead. But again, the value is on the side of Karolina Kovalkiewicz. Once everything drops, I'll look to cover something there. And of course, I'll look to the point spread first and foremost. Karolina, she is the girl that walked down Rose Namajunas 10 years ago, whatever, walking it down in rounds 2 and 3. She's got more experience than just about anybody. She stayed afloat in the UFC for however many years. And even though it's been up and down, she's definitely regained some momentum somewhat as of late. Of course, there's been losses. But I think here, even though I'm picking against her, I have enough faith in her to put a meaningless bet on her side. So Karolina's the bet, but the pick is Julia Polastri. And again, I have to see the odds. Maybe I'll bet on Polastri, but I doubt it. Next up, we have Walter Walker taking on Muhammad Usman. My prediction for this fight is Muhammad Usman wins, and I've got him winning by decision. And the basis for the prediction is I just never fucking learn, do I? I just never learn. That's the basis. Yeah, look, if I'm wrong, my second prediction is Walter Walker by fourth consecutive round one heel hook, which is fucking astounding. And you know what? That's a trick that's going to work on a lot of heavyweights. And it's not like Muhammad Usman hasn't been preparing for it, but you know what? The same could have been said, I'm sure, for Kennedy Nzechukwu, who's a more agile heavyweight. But here, I guess that's a part of it. I'm picking Usman because I think it's got to be tough. I know he's been submitted, but it's got to be tough to submit a limb of his. I mean, he's got big fucking limbs. And I just think Muhammad Usman's going to be able to keep Walter Walker off of him. And when he gets in tight, I'm sure he's got the body that's equipped to smash someone's face in tight. I think Usman will make him pay. And I just see Usman doing well down the stretch. I see Walter Walker falling off a little bit, especially if he's committing to that. I think if he commits to the heel hook early, which honestly he probably should do, even if it doesn't work out, it might be his best course in any fucking fight. He's been doing pretty fucking well with it. But I do think Muhammad Usman will make him pay for that. And on the feet in general, I do think Walter Walker can take down and control Usman. But on the feet in general, even though Walter Walker is a big guy, Muhammad Usman is fucking big in other ways. And I think he's more powerful and I think he's a little more composed. And I think Walter Walker can look sloppy. I think he can be made to look sloppy. And I think it'll happen more frequently with each minute that passes. Again, especially if he commits to that round one heel hook. But yeah, Walter Walker, I see all the upside with him, but I've got Muhammad Usman winning. Again, this is how I see this fight going. I think physically he's going to be able to shut down Walter Walker in a lot of different ways. And I think Walter Walker can be made to look uncomfortable and sloppy, and certainly he can be made to pay for mistakes, tactical mistakes. So Muhammad Usman is the pick. I would not be surprised if he won this fight and it was by late knockout or early knockout, even, I guess. So I wouldn't look to play him by decision. I like his money line enough, but he is my pick and he is my play. And of course, I'll wait for everything else, see if there's more money to put on him. But yeah, he's definitely my pick here. And I will look to cover Walter Walker winning with my second prediction by submission and whatever. But at this point, the jig is up. Everybody's onto it, and I don't expect the odds to be off like they were in the past. So yeah, let's go Muhammad Usman. Although I like Walter Walker. Next up, we have Lucas Rocha taking on Stuart Nicole. My prediction here is Lucas Rocha wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I like Lucas Rocha here, but I'm not too committed to the decision part because these guys just haven't lost enough. Well, Stuart Nickel hasn't lost enough. Of course, he lost once, and it was in his last fight. That was about a year ago, or over a year ago, where he got submitted against Jesus Santos Aguilar via what else? The guillotine choke. He didn't tap, which is a half a notch towards his toughness and grit, but he did get finished, which is half a notch against his submission defense. But still, Stuart Nichols got skills everywhere. He was, I believe, strongly favored to beat Jesus Santos Aguilar. And here he's coming in at almost even money against Lucas Rocha. Pretty much a toss up. He's a slight underdog. And I like Lucas to win. Lucas is the more seasoned guy, despite being the younger guy. He's definitely the one you'd call a kid between the two. But as a kid, he's walking into his 20th professional MMA fight here, like a fucking man, and he's got a record of 17-2. He's got one loss by submission. That's in his last fight to Clayton Carpenter. And much like Stuart Nickel, he didn't tap. So half a notch, all that shit. And his other loss was back in 2019 when he was 20 years old, 19 years old, and 19, I believe. And he was knocked out against this guy, Alan Gabriel. It happens. But hopefully his chin is matured now that he's a man. And yeah, he's got a very pretty record. 17 wins, 10 by knockout, 4 by submission, 3 by decision. He's got some great traits. Got a nice early stoppage in round 2 after a tough round 1 against Davi Bittencourt on the Contender Series. And I think, again, Clayton Carpenter, he may not have the prettiest record in the UFC, but that's a very good fighter, Clayton Carpenter. I have a high estimation of that dude, and I don't think there's any shame in losing to him. But with his experience and the traits he's shown, the ability to turn things around and get a finish later, and in general, a good well roundedness and a solid athlete, I favor him to beat Stuart Nickel. I expect him to do better down the stretch, no matter what kind of fight it is. I just favor Rocha. And it's not like Stuart Nickel has just destroyed everybody in a minute. You know, he's been tested too. He's gone the distance and he's made things happen. But Lucas Rocha's fought better competition. So I've got Rocha winning. I've bet on Lucas Rocha. The odds are pretty close, like I said, where, yeah, I like the wait for everything, the props and all that shit. But at toss-up odds, I'm playing my pick, and that's Lucas Rocha. And, of course, in the event of a decision, he's going to have the crowd on his side. So there is that. Next up, we have Arena Alekseeva versus Beatrice Mesquita, making her UFC debut. I'm going to call her Bia because that's her nickname. But I'm picking Bia to win. I'm picking her to win by submission in round 2. I'm not too confident in that specific prediction, the method of victory, but she's a monster on the ground. I think in general, she's going to prove to be a bad matchup for Arena Alekseeva. Maybe she gets a TKO down there. But Beatrice, I've got winning this fight. Arena Alekseeva, she's had trouble when girls get her on get her on the ground anyway. But Beatrice is a big problem on the ground, jiu-jitsu wise. Arena Alekseeva has much more experience, though. Shittier record at 5-3, but of course, half her career or whatever, a third of it's been in the UFC, and she's fought much better fighters and had a tougher road. And that's why at plus 425, I'm inclined to bet on her. Just like with Karolina, even though she's much less proven with experience. But I would put a sprinkle, a much less serious sprinkle, as opposed to Karolina, I would put on Arena Alekseeva, just because Beatrice Mesquita has a lack of experience. And of course, I've seen Sam Hughes versus Jacqueline Amorim. I believe I might have even picked that fight correctly. But uh, Arena Alekseeva, she's no Sam Hughes. She's no reliable round three grinder or anything, even though I think Sam got a first round finish in her last fight. But Arena is still a more experienced girl. She is accustomed to fighting at a higher level and to fighting more grueling fights. So maybe the body shot lands the wrong way, or the calf kick, or fucking whatever. The cardio just gives out, and Bia hits a wall that she's never hit before, and Arena's able to take over. This is all me trying to justify a 35-cent bet on Arena Alekseeva down the stretch. But no doubt the pick is Beatrice Mesquita. I do think she's a monster on the ground. And you know what? I'll wait for of course, the under first and foremost, and then a day after that, the props. Maybe something will be worth playing, but like I've said for a few other fights already, the money line is set too wide for me to think anything's going to be too enticing. On to the next one. Next up, we have Vitor Petrino versus Thomas Petersen. My prediction for this fight is Thomas Petersen wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. And the basis for the prediction is I'm a shitty fight analyst. I'm just the drizzling shits as far as this whole thing is concerned. But I'm still going to go with Thomas Petersen. And I guess my thinking is Vitor Petrino's a monster. He's got physicality over everybody, but now he's moved up to heavyweight, and I think he's got some natural heavyweight physicality standing in front of him. A naturally bigger guy, even if he's shorter and the rest of it. But Thomas Petersen, I think, is going to be able to take away that typical strength advantage for Vitor Petrino. I could be completely fucking wrong about all this. Bear in mind, I said similar shit about Alexander Romanov when he fought Jailton Almeida. I think I picked Almeida to win, but I remember speculating on the natural heavyweight physicality enough to the point that I'm embarrassed by having speculated on it so much because the fight was pretty one sided. And here that could be the case, but I'm going with Thomas Petersen. Vitor Petrino, he's got some good pop in his punches. Thomas Petersen's got a lot of TKOs, but they're more heavyweight Romanov type of TKOs, getting on top of you and smashing you. Vitor Petrino, he can crack on the feet. I think he's just sharper on the feet. And I think without any knockouts or big moments, he gets the better of the outside kickboxing on the feet against Thomas Petersen. But I think Thomas Petersen still hits hard. He can be really aggressive. He will give himself a chance. I mean, I go back to his loss against Waldo Cortez Acosta. That was his first loss, round three TKO. And he did get outlasted and taken out on the feet. And of course, wrestling was a part of his game plan there, and it fell off. But once it fell off, he still showed a willingness to get in the boxer's face and try to beat him up in the clinch. And he's definitely got some good traits, Petersen. And yeah, that was his first knockout loss. His second one was the Shamil Gaziev earlier this year. But in general, I still think he's healthy. And I think he can press Vitor Petrino, maybe bear hug him, put him on his ass, take some of the life out of Vitor, or maybe just clip that chin himself. Vitor's been knocked out. I got knocked out against Dustin Jacoby a few fights ago. Yeah, Vitor, and you know what? I should mention there's other wrinkles to this fight as well. Vitor Petrino's a guy whose ground game has developed. He got a nice submission over Marcin Prachnio, I believe, a few fights ago. Had a back and forth fight against what the fuck's his name? Uh, Anton Turkali initially. And I thought, even though he looked really sloppy on the ground, he showed that he was coming along. And he got another first round submission, the second one of his career against Austin Lane in his last fight. So he's developing. He's still not even 30. And he's looking to become a well rounded, dangerous heavyweight. but I've got Thomas Petersen being the heavyweight tank that he's not used to, not able to bull around, and taking Vitor Petrino into deeper waters, tiring him out, getting on top of him, and either winning a decision or maybe putting him away. But I'm going with Petersen here. Petersen is the pick. Petersen is the play. Vitor's never lost a decision, so I wouldn't be able to commit to Petersen winning one. And even though Petersen's won 2 decisions in his last 2 victories, generally that's not his type of thing. I'm just going to play the Petersen side, and hopefully I can pay my mother back for lending me money after Khalil Roundtree lost to Yuri Prohashka. Next up, we have Clayton Carpenter taking on Jafel Filio. My prediction for this fight is, first of all, it's fucking awesome. And second of all, I've got Clayton Carpenter winning, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. And the basis for the prediction is I just think he's going to be able to secure top position after some near deaths, some near death experiences for both guys. Jafel Filio will make shit happen. He's a really good submission artist, and I don't think he's going to be an easy guy for Clayton Carpenter to just out wrestle. But both guys can handle themselves on the feet as well. Both are solid strikers. I think Clayton Carpenter will have an advantage on the outside, being the sharper guy with the better leg kicks. But Jafel Filio can bring it, and he's got some pretty quick hands. And I think there's going to be action, and shit's going to happen on the feet. I don't think this is going to be, a 15-minute boring, small moments type of fight like I talk about. But I do think it's going to ultimately come down to who got the better of the grappling. And even though I expect Jafel Filio to maybe have more submission attempts and make more of his opportunities, Clayton Carpenter is going to have more top control. And he's not a bad grappler at all himself. And Jafel Filio, even though he's fought some really good fighters, he is the guy who's been submitted. He's the guy who got strangled against Muhammad Makayev. Muhammad Makayev, round 3, and against Luan Mateus, another round 3 submission. And Clayton Carpenter, he's got 15 minutes of cardio in him. So maybe I'll be looking for props here. But in general, I favor Clayton Carpenter, and I've played his money line. They're pretty much, it's toss-up odds, and I like Clayton. Wait for the props. I'll go reaching for shit, but no doubt the pick is Clayton Carpenter. And I guess I've got him winning by decision, despite all that talk of danger and submissions and all that other horse shit. Next up, we have Michael Aswell versus Lucas Almeida. My prediction here is Michael Aswell wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. I'm not too confident in that prediction. I think Lucas Almeida has the much better resume. He's got a handful of victories that are better than the best victory for Michael Aswell, which might be his knockout over Nate Richardson. But he's still got a lot of great traits, Michael Aswell. Enough traits where I'm picking him to win by decision, even though he's going to fight Lucas Almeida in Brazil. I think Michael Aswell is going to get in Lucas's face, and I think first and foremost, he's going to stand up to the danger of Lucas Almeida. And he's a pretty potently dangerous guy. He's got 15 wins, 14 of them are finishes. That's almost pure danger, but not quite. Lucas Almeida, he's going to test Michael Aswell, but I've got Aswell standing up to it like he has in his defeats. His losses are only to excellent fighters, UFC guys. Balaji Oki being the last one, and then he lost to Yadier Davallier and Bogdan Grad. But Michael Aswell, he's shown in these fights, he's tough as fuck. I think he'll be able to stand up to the danger of Lucas Almeida. And I've got him being in shape this time, being on a full camp, and I've got him outlasting and outperforming Lucas Almeida just by getting in his face. It's a fight Lucas Almeida has lost before, but it's also a fight he's won before. That round 3 knockout over Mike Trezano was awesome, and that was a wild fight. Each guy got knocked down earlier. Lucas is always going to be there. He's always going to be dangerous, but I think Michael Aswell is first of all, tough enough to survive, and second of all, good enough to not make any dangerous moments he might face the story of the round or the fight. I think Aswell is going to be slow but steady and fast but steady, and I think he's going to beat Lucas Almeida on points, winning the small moments. So the fight is even. The odds are pretty even. Michael Aswell's a slight favorite, and yeah, I like Michael Aswell to win. I definitely favor him to win by points, but Lucas has been finished a few times. Pat Sabatini did go through him, smashed him on the ground, and strangled him. And of course, Andre Fili knocked him out somewhat more recently as well. So, decision's the pick, but who knows? Next up, we have Con Ofli versus Ricardo Ramos. My prediction here is Ricardo Ramos wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by knockout due to spinning back elbow in round two. And the basis for the prediction is it seems to be spinning back elbow season. They are in season. And of course, Ramos has two of them himself on his own resume. I don't know where the fuck else he would have them, but either way, I've got him winning by being the better striker. All right, it doesn't have to be a spinning back elbow. But I do think both guys can handle themselves everywhere. Ramos, though, I think in general is going to be better on the feet, and Ofli is going to be looking to take Ramos to the ground. Ramos has been strangled a few times, albeit against really good fighters because he's been in the UFC for a while. But I'd still have to assume that's plan A for Con Ofli. Strike his way into takedowns. He's a strong guy, and try to muscle Ricardo Ramos. But I think Ramos is a well rounded guy. I think he'll be able to keep himself safe, protect his neck, and I think on the feet, he's going to be a half step ahead of Con Ofli. And Con, I do think, will be pressuring. He'll be trying to corral him into a takedown. And we've seen Ricardo Ramos set up that spinning back elbow. And, again, I don't know why the fuck I'm harping on a move like that. But my point is, he's comfortable on the back foot with someone stalking him. And he got a beautiful win over Eamon Zahabi, which aged like a fine fucking wine many years ago. But yeah, Con Ofli, he's got vulnerabilities himself now, having been knocked out against Myron Santos. That was the Ultimate Fighter finale. Myron caught him with a big uppercut, I believe, in round two, or big hook, probably, whatever. But knocked him out. And that's the only time it's happened, but it is a stain moving forward. I still think Ramos, though, whether he gets the knockout or not, he's going to be the better man than Con Ofli. I think he'll be putting up better points and frustrating him. But certainly, whether it's by TKO or cold knockout due to some spinning back shit, I favor Ricardo Ramos. Ramos is the pick. And Ramos is the bet, even though, again, I'm not too confident. There's a lot of doubt with Ramos. But at minus 185, inside minus 200, yeah, it warrants a small bet from me. I'm going with the UFC veteran. Next up, we have Jonathan Diniz versus Mario Pinto. My prediction here is Jonathan Diniz wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by knockout here. I'm going to take it happening in round two. Jonathan Diniz has shown he can fight and win a decision at the UFC level. He's done it twice now, most impressively over Carl Williams, even though I still don't think Williams really showed up there. But I think he's got good traits as a fighter. I think he's a problem for anybody on the feet. And I think he's going to be a problem for Mario Pinto. Jonathan Diniz is the one guy who's got a loss between the two as a pro, and that's to Marcin Tybura. That's not a path to victory for Mario Pinto going through him in the way Tybura did. And it's not like it was a legit TKO. He just smashed him to the point at which it was a doctor stoppage. But here, I think this one's going to largely be contested on the feet. And I think Jonathan Diniz is going to need to take it early. But once he does, and I expect him to take it, I think he's going to take over. And Mario Pinto, he's no stranger to fighting longer fights. He's been to a decision a few times in victory. But I think Jonathan Diniz is going to make him really uncomfortable on the feet. The height, the reach, it's going to help Pinto for a small window. But I think after that, it's going to be about comfortability or comfort. I don't know. But I think Jonathan Diniz is going to make him feel uncomfortable. And he's going to be slow but steady and take over. And I've got him hurting Pinto and putting him away in round two. The odds are really close for this one as well. Another toss up. Really good card. Great fucking matchmaking with all these tight odds. But yeah, at toss up odds, I flipped a coin, said, all right, I'm going with Diniz, and I'm betting on Diniz as well. Jonathan Diniz. Next up, we have Joel Alvarez taking on Vicente Luque. My prediction here is Joel Alvarez wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by TKO, although certainly a submission wouldn't surprise me. And I'm not married to either one of them, really. But on the flip side, Vicente Luque, who's coming back at almost 4-1 odds as far as his money line goes, I think I would put a sprinkle on him winning by TKO because I consider that far and away his primary path to victory. Even though, again, much like Joel Alvarez, he's really fucking dangerous, lacing up chokes himself. But Alvarez, I think, is much more dangerous than Vicente Luque these days. He's the tall giraffe guy, but man, is he mean and is he sharp. Everything hurts, and he's as dangerous as anybody with his strangulations. And I think he's going to be too much for Luque, who has, I think, turned a corner. You know, we've been speculating for a while, or I have anyway, since really his loss to Jeff Neal. And he's had a spotty record since then. Of course, nothing but tough fights. But here again, in front of him, he's got a pretty tough fight in Joel Alvarez. And I think it's going to be too much. I don't think Luque is healthy enough to handle Alvarez. And I don't think he's good enough to survive him, his submission attempts. I think Joel Alvarez, of course, he's got some opportunistic submissions for anybody taking a lazy shot. And he's got the striking to force you to take a lazy shot. So I've got Alvarez winning. He's too big of a favorite for me to bet on. I really should just play all these gigantic favorites and try to win half my money back on some huge parlay. But I have too much respect for fighting to go reaching for multiple 5-1 favorites. It's just not in me. But I do think here, if he does win, and I really think he will, it's a finish far and away. So, of course, I'll look to the under. I'll look to the props, all that other horse shit. Alvarez is the pick. Next up, we have in the co-main event, Davison Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. My prediction here is Montel Jackson wins, and I'm going to go with him winning by decision. There is that UFC levels skepticism that I have for this one, where, come on, it's Davison Figueiredo. Look at who he's beaten. Look at who he's lost to. Former champion, all that. But I still have faith in the upside of Montel Jackson. I think he's a really well-rounded guy. Maybe his submission offense could use a little work, or his overall ground game, but it's still there for him when he needs it. It's been there. But he's a problem on the feet, and I think he can match the speed of Davison Figueiredo. And, of course, he's a wrestler. He's been out wrestled, though that's really the story of his two defeats, or half of it anyway. But still, he's a good wrestler, and I think he can be the bully against Davison Figueiredo. Davison's coming off a tough loss, technically a TKO to Corey Sandhagen, where he had his knee hurt pretty badly, but I guess not badly enough because it's 4 or 5 months later, and Corey and Davison Figueiredo's getting back in there. But still, that's not a big threat. Anything on the ground, really, from Montel. His ground game is underrated, perhaps, and it came through for him against Brian Kelleher. But in general, I think Montel will be controlling Davison Figueiredo on the ground. And on the feet, Montel Jackson may not be Mr. Knockout in the UFC, but of course, he's shown knockouts, got that beautiful finish over Damon Blackshear. But here, I think in general, he's going to be the sharper guy winning the small moments. And I think it's going to be mixed in with wrestling attacks. But Davison Figueiredo, he's probably a little faster, and he's still really fucking dangerous, as explosive as anybody, really powerful. He might be overall more dangerous than Montel Jackson. But on the flip side, Jackson's a pretty healthy guy. Despite not having half the resume of Davison Figueiredo, he's never been stopped. His 2 losses are decisions to Brett Johns and Ricky Simone. 2 really good fighters. Of course, you all remember Ricky. I'm sure some of you remember Brett. But yes, I'm going with Montel, and I am not betting on him. He's a 3-1 favorite. You know how this goes. I'm inclined to bet on Davis and Figueiredo. I expect him to lose by decision, so I'll wait for the point spread and all the other horse shit before making a play, if I make any. And in the main event of the evening, we have Charles Oliveira taking on Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz. I go back and forth on it, but either way, he's Gamrot to me. He'll always be Gamrot to me, and he's my pick to win this fight. And I'm going to go with him winning by TKO. I'm not too confident in the TKO part of it. Believe me, I see him being a grinder. It's just that there's 5 rounds to grind, and Charles, he's not the greatest nail, so I'm just feeling like it's a TKO. But I'm favoring Gamrot here, and that's in a longer fight, despite the fact that he's fighting a guy who's accustomed to 5 rounds and was in the middle of training as hard as ever for 5 rounds, whereas Gamrot just found out about and took this fight a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever, not even. But still, Gamrot's a guy who is a gamer, as his nickname suggests. He's always in shape, and even though he's been outlasted and outgrinded and he's lost decisions, he's tough as all fuck. He's got every trait in the book, and I think he's going to be too much. The grind is going to be too much for Charles Oliveira. Having said all that, Charles Oliveira is the most dangerous guy in the fucking world, pound for pound, move for move, with all of his submissions. And Mateusz Gamrot's going to be trying to go through him with grappling, I think. Mixing it up, of course. But that's how he slows you down, mixing it up. And I do think, of course, there's a chance the guy who's never been finished runs into a guy who's the most dangerous finisher, and it's a little too much. Charles Oliveira, he's the only guy to submit Darren Elkins, my favorite fighter. Charles is that fucking dangerous, and it could happen. But I'm going with Gamrot to survive. I think any tough attempts, any real hard moments, he'll battle his way through, and it'll only make Charles worse for the wear on the backside of that. And I've got Gamrot on the backside of anything really coming out stronger. He is a fucking gamer. Gamrot, his 3 losses are all forgivable decisions to Kuta Daladze, Benil Dariush, and Dan Hooker. I'm not going to go through every loss for Charles, but he's been knocked out a few times, knocked unconscious, really, the last time most cleanly against Ilia Topuria. But he's been stopped with strikes a bunch. People have questioned his heart and whatever, and I don't want to distance myself from them. Yeah, these fucking people. I'm one of them. You hear me harping on traits and bullshit, and there was definitely a lot of doubt with Charles, and there still is a little bit. But he's also been submitted before, which is not out of the realm of possibility for Gamrot. Gamrot's a good grappler, but he's not Islam Makhachev. He's not looking to go through Charles on the ground. I think, if anything, he's a grinder and a wrestler, and he's going to be trying to stay away from subs. But he's still a dangerous, well-rounded guy, and you don't need to thoroughly out-grapple Charles to submit him. In fact, he's been subbed with opportunistic subs at every fight but the Islam fight. Jim Miller's knee bar and guillotines against Ricardo Ramos and Anthony Pettis. And yeah, Gamrot's a big, strong guy. He can definitely put him away if he gets Charles in a bad spot. But my breakdown is this. First submission certainly goes to Charles. First knockout goes to Gamrot. And decision goes to Gamrot. Gamrot's my pick. The odds right now, Gamrot is a slight favorite. He's minus 118, but it's pretty much a toss-up. Again, so many toss-ups here. But I like Gamrot here. The short notice guy on 5 rounds. Believe me, I'm aware of the context. There are strikes against him, but he's just such a natural grinder and hustler that I think he wins that fight against Charles anyway. But again, the prediction, because I'm a jerk off, is somehow he gets him out of there with a TKO stoppage. And yeah, I'll go reaching for those props as well. But Gamrot is the pick, and as of now, with nothing but the money line, Gamrot is the bet. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.